which
Yeah. You know, families like myself, you know, and I'm fortunate enough to have a good job and have disposable income to spend on my children. It isn't going to be my kids that miss out, because I'm going to be keen that they're active and that they, you know, that they carry on their swimming experience and they learn to swim. What we know from school swimming figures is it's kids from deprived areas that don't have access to swimming pools, and also maybe parents don't have the disposable income to teach them. We know that over 150,000 kids left primary school in 2019 unable to swim. And let's not forget that it's a statutory requirement that kids should be able to swim. That's only going to get worse with school pools, with pools closing, number one, but also school swimming not taking place for what will have been the best part of 18 months once it gets back up and running. And this is a vital life skill that we know they won't take up if they don't do it in school. There's three things happening here which makes a lost generation of kids being able to swim more likely. Number one is there are going to be less swimming pools. We only had 3,500 locations on which to swim before the pandemic. You could argue that there actually wasn't enough prior to the pandemic. Swim England, the national governing body for swimming, they're suggesting that as many as 1 in 5 pools can disappear, which just scares the life out of me. That is a ridiculous statistic. That's the first thing. The second thing is there's a concertina effect. There's children that haven't done their swimming lessons that will want to go back and do it, and then there's all the kids that may have started their experience that will be looking to get involved. So there's going to be an increased volume at precisely the time that there is less supply. And then you throw on top of that school swimming basically hasn't happened. There will be hundreds of thousands of children that aren't able to swim. That's before we even consider club swimming, the health of seniors doing it, people trying to recover through swimming, whether it's part of physiotherapy or because they've got wider disability issues. And I get that the world's in a bad state at the moment, but the very short-term decision to close a swimming facility will have very long-term repercussions, and that really concerns me. But I do fear we might be a little bit apathetic towards it and just go back to the way things were, and that will be a huge missed opportunity for us. But just, you know, to focus on this swimming issue for a sec, fields are there for kids still to play on. Gymnasiums are still there for them to do activity. It's cost a lot of money, or it will cost a lot of money to get our swimming facilities back up and running, to take care of any issues that may have arisen over the last 3 months. And I fear that schools in particular and that local authorities, given the financial pressures that they're under, if they don't believe in the value that aquatics can bring you know, to the wider community, they will close them. But I guarantee that they'll consider that a mistake down the line. And the reason that we're so that this is such an issue at the moment is you're not going to get the social pushback that you'd usually get. I mean, you may be aware, Jamie, any time that you've closed a swimming pool in the past, there's little pickets of people outside saying, don't close our pool, don't. Given the pessimistic news at the moment and everything, you could get away with closing a swimming pool. But I think that's something we've really got to be careful about. The news is so dire, isn't it? Whether it be retail or hospitality or people losing their jobs, that you could quite easily close these cherished community assets and get away with it, the wrong word, but it largely go unnoticed. It largely be acceptable. You know, I doubt private facilities are going to close as much, but I could see publicly owned facilities, whether that's schools or local authorities, closing more and more. And as I say, we've already seen 200 close, and that was in the first wave of the pandemic. What we can't do is see 800 close, which is what the national governing body for swimming is forecasting. That would just be a travesty.